right now. All right,
Okay.
so we are supposed to be live. I have no clue, Robin, how many people are going to join us, if any, frankly, because I
Yep.
haven't. I want to see if it's on Rumble here. Hold on just a second. There's about 15-second delay, so hopefully Rumble will be showing up here shortly. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, hey, it is. Oh, good. So somehow I was able to solve the
Nice.
Rumble thing. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. We
Awesome.
got our first comment on here. Hello, Hodges. Right on. Sweet. All right. So man, this is I tell you, man, technology does it just really kicks butt. All right, my friends. So we got Robin Webb from Des
Mhm.
Moines. Are you all getting snow out there, Robin?
Yes, it's freezing right now. Yes.
The guys talked to from West Des Moines yesterday showed me out
Mhm.
his window. Is hey, right on, John. So John said, "Sound okay? Okay, fantastic." And I talked to him yesterday. He said, "Yeah, look at all this snow out there." I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's Iowa, man."
Yes.
Are you a native of
Well,
Iowa?
I am. I grew up in Grinnell, which
That's
is, I think,
Grinnell. Yeah,
yep, you
I
and I
talked.
talked about the college there before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up there, and yes, the plan is to not be here in the winter at some point very soon.
Where will you be in South Florida or where?
A mix. I'm golf, still competitively. I played all through high school and in college, so I still compete. So I'm hoping to traverse the U.S. in the South and play.
Where'd you go to school, Robin?
University of Northern Iowa in
Okay.
Cedar Falls.
Yeah. All right. Gotcha. Right on. All right. So, folks, we got Robin Webb from Iowa, Des Moines, to be specific, is joining us here today. And the reason I asked Robin, we had worked together, and I just her story's pretty cool. It's cool to the extent that it's common but not common, and I think a lot of people, well, maybe we'll see, can get something out of Robin's transition, if you will. And hey, my man Mike's from Davenport. You know where that is?
Oh yeah, yep, I do. Yep.
Yeah, Robin says people from Davenport are losers, Mike. Sorry.
That is
Yes,
not what she
she didn't
said.
say that. I just put that word in her mouth. Anyway, I told Robin we would not get controversial. Robin is one who did not leave a crappy old job. I just want to be very, very clear. But the job was such going through another transition. She goes, I'm on the latter part of my 50s. I might be wanting to do something differently than go through a transition again because the transitions can really take a lot out of you, especially if you've been with a firm for a long time. I just talked to a guy today who got transitioned out, and it's another transition, and he got laid off, and he's going to be fine. But it can sometimes transitions can catch you with your pants down. It did not happen to Robin, thankfully. So
Yeah.
this is where I want to kind of go into, and maybe you all can take something out of this as you kind of think about your own thing. So, Robin, just tell us about yourself, and we'll just go from there if you don't mind.
Okay. All right. Well, I CPA. Lived in Iowa again most of my life. My background started, and I've always been in accounting and controller or CFO positions pretty much most of my career. But I did start in the audit area with Deloitte, which used to be Deloitte Haskins and Sells, for those of us who are a little more experienced over life.
Deloitte Haskell, man, that's woo, that's before
I
me.
know. Yeah. So, and they recruited out of the Houston office, recruited out of Cedar Falls. So I did go to someplace warmer for a while, but anyway, so I was in audit for close to 8 to 10 years. Came back to the Des Moines area and then went to work for a franchisor called Medicap Pharmacies Incorporated.
Yeah.
Um, it was basically their controller for 10 years. And so we had about 300, 350 franchises.
All over the United
And
States.
yes, yep, exactly. And part of my role there was to oversee a department called franchise accounting. So at that time, doing monthly financials for franchisees. And so that was my first time through an acquisition. So at the end of that 10-year period, we got acquired by our competitor, Medicine Shop International, which is owned by Cardinal Health. And so, now I'm working for a public company post acquisition. They did hire me and another management person were kind of the two people who got hired through that acquisition. Stuck around there a couple of years, decided that was not what I wanted to do. I'm not a public company person at all. So
When you say
left there.
publicly traded, is that what you mean? Like,
Yep,
okay, got it.
exactly. Publicly traded. Yep.
All right.
So then jumped around a little bit over about 5 to 7 years and ended up as controller of an accounting firm in West Des Moines for about 5 years. And then came back into the Medicap world on the franchisee side as CFO for a gentleman who I've worked with him 25 years. And as CFO for his company. And so he owned probably at that time about 10 Medicaps, all in Iowa, Medicap
Okay.
pharmacies. And so we was there about another 10 years as CFO for that company. And we were just acquired last November. So yeah, a year ago, in 21 by another company. And at that time, we had 22 pharmacies in Iowa. So, yeah. So my second acquisition was in November of 21.
And was this a public company this time, or is it private?
No, it's privately held
Okay.
right now. Yep.
But you're like, man, I don't want to do this again. Go through the changes and everything, and the systems, the integrations, all that. You're just like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, and they have very strong growth plan, very rapid growth plans, and so all that comes with that was not something I was. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. So, so now so the piece I've kind of left out was while I was CFO for the company, the Medicap franchisee, we started a little accounting division, again, kind of the franchise accounting concept we restarted within our company. And so we were doing monthly financials for pharmacies that we did not own.
Okay.
And so that started in 2013, 2014, and grew to when I acquired it, this November 1st of 2022, and came out with about 60 clients that I was able to acquire that business.
November 1st of 2022. That's
Yep,
literally, like I said, 45 days ago. Okay.
exactly. Yep. Yes.
So
So
you came out of that as a self-employed now.
yes, correct. And I had 2 employees dedicated to that division while I was still at the company. And I brought one of them with me and had the plan in theory for me to do half the clients and that accountant to do the other half. So 45 days later, I've hired a second accountant already, and I'm interviewing a third on Monday.
All
So,
right. So I want to talk about so are you like a S corp or S corp? Are you
yeah,
an
S
LLC?
corp.
Okay.
Well, an LLC
With
taxes an S
inside.
corp. Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
All right. So you're an S corp LLC with inside an S corp, and all right. So the first thing is, what about health insurance? That's what everyone's going to ask. Now that you're self-employed, what about health insurance?
Yeah. So yeah, myself and my first employee, we're lucky enough that we're both married and are on our spouses' benefits right now. I'm starting out, I'm not doing benefits, but I suspect I'm going to quickly move into that world because of the growth. And if I get to 4 or 5 employees, I'm probably going to go ahead and at least offer it, which you can get as a small employer.
All right, so fantastic. So that's the reason I asked that is because everyone they seem. And by the way, if you see me kind of going back and forth, I have to go to Rumble to see if there's any quotes on comments on there
Yeah,
too. So
that's fine.
I'm kind of going back and forth. We got 13 people on Rumble watching too, so that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, fantastic. All right, so have you ever been self-employed before, Robin?
I have not.
Okay.
This is my very first time.
All right, so how me either, you know what I'm saying? So when you go, it's scary, you know what I'm saying? Because what if, how did you plan to say, something, I'm not going to do this, go through the rigmarole of another integration. I'm going to do this on my own. What were the emotional hurdles or the intellectual hurdles you had to kind of overcome for that? Cause that's a big transition. I hate to say it.
Yep.
if you're not 22 anymore, you can't just go find another career path. I mean,
Right.
accounting and CFO work and that kind of stuff, financial reporting, that's you. And you
Yeah.
can't just start from the bottom floor again.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably, for me, I did a lot of worst case
Oh,
scenario thought, and that probably comes from my accounting, whatever the risk management. But so you're right. I got to a point where I was like, okay, do I want to stay here and be stressed nonstop every day, or it really came down to my head to like, okay, I'll go do a payables job for 50, $75,000 a year, whatever. I would rather do that
no,
than
absolutely.
stay and
Absolutely.
be unhappy. So that was kind of my starting point. And of course, my husband and I had lots of discussions. And I said, if I do A or B, I could not have a job in immediately. So we need to prepare for that. What does that look like? Are we both okay? And luckily, I have a lot of connections in Des Moines that, and I feel like I have a good reputation that I had a little bit of a safety net. I know I'd land somewhere if
Yeah.
I took this risk and it didn't work. So part of that, and part of it, I'm just not afraid to work. So I've been in a position in my past where I literally walked out of a job that I hated
Yeah.
without a job. And
Yeah.
at that point I was a single parent with two kids, and I just made it work. And so
Yeah.
I think I went and did temp work for a
Yeah.
while I was
Yeah.
looking for a job. And well, you just go make it work and
Aren't
go.
you worried that you could be eating cat food in retirement because
Yeah.
you obviously you hung up the boots before 65 years old? So retirement is
Yeah.
not going to happen for you. I just go back in time. Like, when did you, come to the idea that you're a numbers guy? You know what I'm saying? Because did your dad show
Oh,
you stock charts or something like that, or what? How did it?
sadly, I probably even when I went to college, I knew I wanted to be an accountant. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but yeah, yes, I have always not wanted to do anything but. So
Was your dad or mom an accountant or something like that,
now
or
my dad was an engineer, so
something
yeah,
to
so
do with
that came
it?
that, and my mom was an English teacher when she did work actually. So so no, I don't know where. Yeah,
All right, that's cool.
early. I remember my bookkeeping class in high school. I loved. So I know I'm embarrassed.
How awesome is that? This is great. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
oh man, that is funny. Yeah, that's good stuff. My mom is a bookkeeper. I mean, she could
Okay.
have eased. I mean, anyway, long story short, she used to share with me these old value line, stock chart thing that she'd get from the library, bring home, and kind of. I mean, this is. And she goes, look at this stock, the price, the book, and I was like, and I literally is like, I've always loved statistics, like baseball stats, and I said, this is like
Yeah.
I just loved it. I've always loved the number side, the crunching. It was kind of like the mathematics behind it. It just has always been
Yep.
fantastic. It's weird, man. And I hate more than anything like trying to putting things together with my hands, and I can't do that. But when it comes to numbers on a spreadsheet, I'm like, oh, I love it. Um,
Yeah, I'm amazed in your YouTube videos. All you can run numbers so fast, and I'm like, wait, I got to run this down and figure it out.
Yeah, well, just because it's a software, the Right Capital, I've been using every day and that's I tell people this all the time. Like, look, I've been using this software for 5 years. When I'm
Oh
going
yeah,
like this, you'll never, So if people have questions, just email me for heaven's sake, because I'm
yeah.
like, it's interesting because I was talking to a guy yesterday. He's single, or 2 days ago. He's single, and he went to start his own businesses, I'm not gonna say they failed, but he's no longer doing those businesses, so we can put two and two
Yep.
together, and he landed on his feet in a well-paying company as well, and it's just it working for some I'm not gonna say what it is, but anyway, long story short, I said it's interesting because he's 61 or 62, I can't remember, but he's in his 60s and he doesn't look like it. I mean, I was just like, dude, you're what? Anyway, and it's like he tried it and worked at it, and it didn't quite work where when you start your business he thought, but same thing. He had a lot of connections. He
Hmm.
didn't burn bridges, and
Yep.
he was able to use those connections. And no one said, "Oh, you're a failure as a business. I don't want to I don't want anything to do with you." And
Yep.
it doesn't work like that. People are always looking for talent. I just and if you're talented and you have the ability to communicate, and they know you're going to show up on time with a clean nose, it can work. And I wish, I don't know. I mean, you're a living testament to that. You didn't burn bridges. You had connections. You know what I'm saying? And in
Yep.
worst case scenarios, as business fails, it's not going to be hard for someone to pick you up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the environment's ideal for this, that people want good employees. You can't even, it's just so hard to find good, solid, consistent employees that, yeah, if you have something, a service that's marketable or whatever, it's just an ideal time to try this, I think.
How did your own trying to get people to work for you? I mean, how's that shaking out? I mean, how are you recruiting? Are you finding that's, now that you're self-employed, you need people underneath you? How's
Mhm.
that shaking out?
It's challenging. It's kind of interesting. So, of course, I have the one accountant who's full time. What I'm finding is a number of candidates who are my age, female, want to work half time. And my positions are going to be full time remote.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a plus. So I don't have benefits, but I have full time remote, and um, so I'm finding, and two of the folks that I've interviewed are very specific, and the one that I hired, I'm waiting for this perfect job. These are the things I want, and I had those things they wanted, which
No.
was half
Yeah.
time to work remote. They didn't need benefits because either their spouse has them or they're close to
What was the first thing
retirement.
you said, which was tax time? What you said, you had the things, what was the first thing you said? You said
Uh,
full-time remote. I thought you said like tax time or something like that. I
oh
was like,
no, no, yeah. So,
I said
um,
because you're not doing. All right, gotcha.
we're
So,
not. Yeah.
so you're able to hire someone from freaking Malibu, Hawaii, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The full-time remote.
Yeah, I could. I have not yet. I've looked at a few opportunities there. I do like the opportunity, the thought of being able to still meet with them in person once a month, my
Yeah,
team and that type of
absolutely.
thing. I'm not but here we are talking on this. So, I'm not, it's a new world. If I really was having a hard time finding someone, I would probably do that. But right now, my candidate on a Monday lives 2 blocks from me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
Another Iowan.
yep.
Cindy says hi from Iowa. So
Oh, cool.
Iowa's representing there. Now
Nice.
you're Robin. What's the name of your business?
Web RX accounting.
Okay. Now
And
that's but it's not just for pharmaceutical. The RX is just
right.
okay.
Yep. So right now we're half and half. So half the division is still pharmacies. Again, independently owned pharmacies that we work with. And that's why I kind of kept the WebRx name, because my intent is to grow that. And I
Oh.
have a lot of opportunities to grow it. I don't have the bandwidth yet to head there.
Are
So
there still a lot of independently owned pharmacies? I mean,
yeah, there are. I mean,
okay.
yeah, a lot of folks, again, I've been in this industry for 20 some years. There's a number that are retiring now,
Right.
so that I know, but yeah, no, there's still people opening brand new pharmacies. So
Because I was reading a guy's, what was the thing with the independent pharmacies in rural areas? They're getting screwed by the PBMs or something like that, the private.
everybody is, yeah. Yeah, yeah, actually yeah, it's like a cuss word in pharmacy.
Is
It's
what is
PBM.
PBM? Is that what's called
Yeah,
PBM?
pharmacy benefit manager. That's
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yeah. Is there
they
any?
are.
Just think, but is there any? Is Biden going to do something about that, or do we have any idea at all? No.
No, too much money and yeah.
Yeah, freaking. Oh, but just the whole thing. But Trump will do something. Well, he didn't do anything either. Biden will do something. None of these
Yeah.
guys. Crazy.
Yeah,
Put your
that's it.
faith in politicians. You deserve. All right. So, but then you said you also have some farmers, and things like that for clients as well.
Yes, so my other half is, yeah, mix holding companies, real estate, farms, yeah, just a lot of smaller business owners, and again, a lot of them are through relationships I've had over the years, and they're like, "Wait, well, if you're doing my pharmacy, can you do my real estate company too?" And that kind of thing. So,
And you're not doing the actual tax accounting. You're doing the financial reporting, and
right,
so you're working with people's tax preparers and whatnot
right,
to make sure the numbers are flowing to the bottom line. Essentially, you know what I'm
yep.
saying?
Yeah. So the tax accountants don't see us as a threat
Right.
or a competitor, because we're actually partnering, and to be honest, a lot of tax firms don't like to do what we do.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's actually a great relationship. So
So what
um
exactly is financial reporting? I'm still trying to I get the income statement, all that, but what do you do? I mean, like, what is, you don't have to give away proprietary trade
No,
stuff.
it's not. Yeah. So, for example, on the pharmacy side, we aren't paying their bills or anything. So at the end of the month, they've paid their own bills during the month,
Okay.
and then they send us, or we get access to their bank statement, their receivable numbers, their inventory numbers, all of that, kind of all the balance sheet type stuff.
Yes. Okay.
And we pull it all together and make the entry, fixed assets, depreciation, all that, to make an accrual based set of financials. So they'll get a balance sheet, an income statement, a cash flow from us. And then again, on our pharmacy side, we have a call with those clients every month, and we'll talk through what the numbers show. And because of my background in pharmacy, then I can get into the operations too and say, well, this number doesn't look right. Have you done your cycle counts for your inventory every day? Is somebody doing that? Have you, and you should delegate that to a technician. And so it gets often more into operations than financials.
So
And so,
when you're dreaming at night, you have nightmares about depreciation. Was it
yeah,
173 depreciation? Oh, I forgot
yeah,
what it was.
yeah,
There's some
section 173, yeah, or 179. Yeah.
Here we are having worried about the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Here's Robin, depreciation.
Yes, yes. That is my least favorite topic, yes.
Are you now, because you don't have the bandwidth? I'm curious though, because every business, they got to take care of the customers, but they still need to get some new blood coming in. How are you
Yeah.
going to establish, like, you're not, how are you going to get like new business without, hurting your current client base, if that makes sense? I mean, it's just you and some other guy
yeah,
right now. When I say
right,
guy, I'm saying guys and gals, by the way.
right,
So,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that is exactly why I'm hiring, and my husband told me before this I should be hiring ahead, but I didn't listen, and just to give him credit. But so, yes, that is my fear. It's most important to me to make sure I keep high standards of service, because
yeah.
that's how I got here. So I have turned away clients already because I don't have the bandwidth, and I've said I'll be back in 3 months. Let me see, let me get people added.
All right, so
Um,
that right there is the bottleneck, is not enough quality people to meet the demand of the services for your business.
right, that I don't have them on staff yet.
Yeah,
And,
right.
I've got to train them and make sure they're doing it right and so forth. So,
Are these all
um,
CPAs you're hiring, or they any kind
now,
of accounting profession kind of folks?
yeah, I'd hire either anybody with a 2 or 4 year degree accounting. I've had great experience with all levels there,
Yeah.
but definitely doesn't need to be a CPA. And I don't think you're someone who aspires to be a CPA probably isn't, it's going to be a little less than they want to do probably, or more detailed. So typically a 2 or 4 year degree
Okay,
accountant.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think the remote? I'm just throwing out. You think remote is here to stay? What do you think? I mean,
I do.
yeah, I'm feeling-
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I've done again some, but as I've tried to put an ad out on Indeed and so forth, I'm like, well, I can't really argue why I couldn't hire somebody in Texas to do this. So, I mean,
how's it?
so
I just wonder though, like your connections in your area, Iowa, Des Moines, in particularly, are built from handshakes, meeting
right,
people. I just wonder how that's going to change in the future, because it's one thing to do like this, but it's another thing to sit around a chamber of commerce meeting. We're just kind of, just I don't know. It's a different kind of. It's going to come out how it comes out, but it's going to be it's going to be an interesting change in how people rub shoulders, if that makes sense. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Well, and our pharmacy clients are kind of a good example because they are all over the US. I literally have clients in Florida, Pennsylvania, Oregon, and California now. I mean, all over. So this monthly call seems to be the connection with
Yeah.
them that
Mm.
has really been different than what's unique to us, that has given us success. And to be honest, some of the calls we're sitting talking about what their kid's
Yeah.
wedding was
Mm.
like last weekend. We don't even get to the financials, but I'm good with that if that's what they want to talk about.
Interesting you said that, Robin. I found that most people, and I wish in my business, financial advisory, in any kind of numbers business, it's okay to be personable. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
okay to say, hey, how's Susie doing? Or what, I don't care
Yep.
what it is. You don't have to go straight to the chase. Actually, it's funny. I was sitting there Panera Bread yesterday morning, and I'm working my book on the silliness of inflation. And that doesn't mean we don't have a higher cost of products, but if we look historically, it's not nearly the boogeyman people are making. It's just not.
Yeah.
Anyway, because I got to get away from the dogs to do to
Yeah.
be able to concentrate.
Yes.
Some guy came in and I had worked with him. He remembered me. I don't remember him. And it was interesting. So we're chatting there, and there is something to be said about the face to face interpersonal stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But with that said, you and I've never met, and I would
Right.
think that if I was ever in Des Moines, I'd say, "Hey, Robin, want to get some coffee or something like that." I don't know why I'd
Yeah.
ever be in Des Moines. Nothing against Des Moinsians or
Right.
whatever, but it's not on my. Well, maybe one of these days will be on my list of places to go.
There you go.
Actually, I did go to Des Moines once. I remember that one time I went through downtown Des Moines on a Sunday morning, and there was someplace downtown. We had a Deichman family reunion in some in Indiana, memory serves. No, Kansas, that's what it was. And we went. My brother and I went through Des Moines. So let's stop here and get some coffee in downtown Des Moines.
Oh, wow.
That's the extent of what I remember. It's probably
There you
25
go.
years
Okay.
ago. Yeah, and they've always said, "Stay away, Scanlons." But all right, so your husband's still working. You're on his health insurance.
Yep.
You're trying to hire people. That's a problem just in terms of bandwidth for you because you're
Right.
you're going out. Anything like right now, you're sitting there thinking, 10 years ago, you wish you would have done it differently. I mean, what is your high? Like, we can't change the past. We can learn from it for sure. Like, if you had to revisit, a 10-year younger Robin, what would you said? Anything differently? Like for me, I'd say, look, just keep doing what you're doing because you can't. But I don't know about you. Would you said, man, I should have done this earlier, or anything that jumps out like that?
Probably not, because my career prior to this most recent acquisition, people I've worked, they were people actually I worked with the first time on the franchisor side, a lot of that. So really good people. That career was great. So I think not in terms of would I have changed my career path at all? No, it all led to this moment in
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
So none of that would I change. This moment in time, I would have changed and started hiring people, scaling faster.
How
And
would you do that though if you're still working for? I mean, how would you? You know.
well, so the acquisition, when they agreed, I had 3 months. I had to commit to 3 months more before it finalized. So I working on getting my company up and going and that type of thing. So I could have been hiring
Okay.
at that time
Yeah.
or recruiting to start November 1st. And I probably would have paid, if it had been a good candidate, I would have just paid them to help set up things ahead of time.
How about your you don't got deluge anything, but deluge your personal financial stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, going from working for the man to starting your own thing could be a hit to your income. Was that concerning? Like, oh man, I know you said you did the worst case scenario, but still, you're used to a you're a high you know a high achieving person, and you've been high achieving making money. And I don't care, don't need to know, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying you're not making $5 an hour. So how did that go to say, man, now I'm not making $10 an hour and I'm only going to make two or whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? How
Yeah.
scary was that?
It was very, and that was, yours and my discussion and watching some of your videos and just doing the math of bringing it. Let's worst case scenario, my compensation gets cut in half. Well, so do the taxes.
Yeah.
So your take home pay, is just running those kind of numbers
Yeah.
make a difference. I think when you can tangible see, well, yes, the gross comes down, but also the taxes do. So the net hurt isn't quite as bad, as
Yeah.
drastic as you think. So that, and you just get to a point where you're like, life is too short and important
Did I lose you?
or something. So
Wait, did I lose you, Robin? You still hear
nope,
me?
I'm
Okay.
still here.
All right,
Yeah,
right on.
yeah,
Life is too short and important. Exactly,
yeah.
100%. And then you start to say, well, I just not to reiterate, but it's like worst case scenarios. You go back to some other
Mhm.
firm that could use you, like you said, to go payroll, accounts payable or something like that. You know
Right.
what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
knew the demand for accountants is very high right now. So even if I wasn't, if this failed and I'm not sure I even would have gone looking for a CFO position again. I'm done being in charge of people, and again, I've been in charge of HR and IT and finance, and that been there, done that, and ready to be done. So if I had to go look for a position, I probably would have purposely, intentionally looked for a less
yeah,
stressful
man,
position.
downside your so somebody said Dennis H. He says starting a business is not exactly retiring.
Right.
Man, these things aren't mutually exclusive, Dennis. There is a person named Dennis or Robin or Josh that is here today and saying, how do I better myself emotionally, maybe or maybe not financially? You might not even need to do it financially.
Hmm.
And how do I better myself because of the acquisition? I want to go through another acquisition like Robin. USA was where I was at. I was kind of going through that. I didn't want to do any of that crap. And long story short, you better yourself by moving the ball. You're advancing. If you're not advancing, you're entropying, which is why I don't say anything. But evolution is a joke because entropy is existing. There's something called entropy. If you're not advancing, you're entropy. And so you're moving the ball towards a goal that might not be retiring today, but certainly advancing your personal ability to do things that you want to do and maybe be a better asset to
Yeah. And
you know
that's actually, I mean, that's a good point. He's totally right. I am not retired right now.
right.
And in 45 days, I realized, okay, this isn't really how hard I didn't get out of this to work harder necessarily. So that is why I'm adding staff. And this is purely step one for
Yes.
me of a future plan. And I may, retirement again is not, for me, is not working.
Right.
I will probably always do something in work. Um, but this is my first step. Now I get to control how it works. And it's just, yeah, step one of a probably 10 to 15 step process that I'm going to get to a retirement environment that I want it to look like.
And guys, uh Robin, you said you're a golfer, right?
I am. Yep.
Yeah. So we have a golfer here. It's not like Robin doesn't know how to get on the what do they call the links. I don't even know what's called,
Yep.
but
Yep.
so I mean, here's someone who's still going to work and still play golf because that's what she does. But doesn't mean she just go play golf 25/7, 24/7. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because I have a sneaky suspicion, Robin, most people on this channel right now who watch my videos aren't just sitting around on a shuffleboard. We're all
Right.
pretty high accomplishing people. And
Right.
that high accomplishing might be they just like to do comic books. I don't know what it is, but
Yep.
they're not just going to sit there and play golf all day long. They said,
Yeah.
I get energy out of doing stuff and engineering types like your dad, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I guarantee that a lot of people are like that. And they said, well, I'm going to start my own business. Yeah, but you got to start from someplace. And next thing you know, it's going to, grow or it won't. But at least you did something with it. Now you said it didn't work. Now I'm still going to downsize, like my man says, downsizing stress. Do you feel
Mhm.
more or less stress or just a different type of stress in what you're doing right now?
A different kind right
Yeah.
now. And that it really is coming from me. I'm learning a lot about myself and my past work
Yeah.
mentality before. So, and small example, but I was high enough up in my prior position that if something hit my desk, it was an emergency.
Oh,
So,
man.
so now I'm in a position where everything's hitting my desk, and it isn't an emergency, but because it's hitting my desk, I think it is.
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
I got to retrain my brain
Yes.
that everything is not an emergency just because it hit my desk is just a good example of the kind of change and stress. So,
That
um,
that oh, that's a man, Rob, that's a great it's 5 years now since I've been self-employed. And I still get like some emails that that makes me freak out, or some, like
yeah.
we're just because you've been doing that for so long. You're like, I was talking to this guy today, and he had the Fidelity Balance account, which is down. I can't remember what he said. I can't remember, but it's down 18%. And he said, yeah, the Fidelity Balance account, what we talked about, and you suggested, I look into. My first thing is like, oh no, he's gonna say I lost the money. He didn't say that. He wasn't gonna say it, but it's just my
Right.
first thing because I've been so trained in my corporate environment that any guy that seems to be on the verge of complaining for any reason the red flags go up, and he wasn't
Yep.
complaining at all. But it's my first, like, oh, I'm gonna get blamed for this, and it's
Yep.
weird, and that's a stress that I don't have that much anymore because I don't manage any money. I don't literally tell people what
Right.
to do, but given your background, the same thing, it comes on your desk like this has to be done yesterday. Like
Yeah.
not so much. This could sound an odd question. I don't even know if I should ask this the way I want to, but relationship with your husband, how has that changed at all? I don't want to say devolved, but how is he taking it now that you are calling the shots on your own business? I know you guys talked like my wife and I did.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything change fundamentally in that relationship at all?
No, not really, because he's, of course, works out of the home,
Yeah.
so nothing changed there, and so supportive. So I
Yeah.
mean, he was like, "Just do it. We'll figure it out. God's got this. We'll figure it out." And
Oh,
so completely supportive. So no, nothing but support. And again, he's given me great advice. I didn't necessarily take it, but I will now because I should have been doing scaling earlier. So
well, don't take all of his advice. Charles is the one who told me to keep my stupid monkey suit on while I was doing YouTube videos. And
oh
after about a
yeah,
month, I said no. And she goes, "But everyone's gonna think you're not serious." I said, "I don't care. Get out of here, honey." But having a supportive wife or husband is hugely important. If not,
yes,
then they're like, "Hey, Robin, when's the money gonna start flowing in?" You're like, "Man, I've only been working for 3 days, there, guy." You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Jeez.
yes, yeah. Yeah, and we're both kind of minimalist type people, so other than the golf. uh so luckily we don't have live extravagantly, I guess.
Well, that's fantastic. All right. So, do you have a website out yet, or
I
like
do webrxaccounting.com.
webrxaccounting.com? You're looking for people with some kind of accounting background, 2 or 4 year degree, and some experience, and who aren't ogres, obviously. Um, it's just anything else, Rob? What am I missing here? I don't want to keep you here all day. It's already been over a half hour, but I love having these conversations with people. I think it's great. I think I will tell you right now, as I told you about Sue Cole, who left her. She had a crappy old job
Yep.
in New York City, and then she moved to Austin. Now she's crushing, and I got a lot of good positive feedback off that. I think people even have reached out to her to kind of I don't want that necessarily, but it's one of those things that when people actually see you know people who are high achievers who are pretty prominent positions and they're giving it all up to go start their own gig.
Mhm.
I think it's beneficial for people to see it can be done. Doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but it can be done, and you'll live to tell a story, even if it quote fails. And and not just you, but I don't know. I just think it's great that you're willing to share your time and your experiences because we don't know I don't know who Alan Sameta Anna is or Doug Ackerman. I mean, I know of them from the YouTube channel, but you're
Yeah.
sharing personal stuff with people.
Mhm.
Jennifer Starks. I mean, who the hell is that? I don't know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? She might be freaking a Russian bot. We don't know any of these people, but anything else to add or
Yeah.
thoughts, Robin?
No, I think, and we touched on it. It's in my mind, my successes so far has been relationships, and having that opportunity to have started something, even planting a little seed of a business on the side and letting it grow for a year or two before you make it, is great if that's an opportunity. But yeah, I'm amazed. I have people out selling our services because they're so pleased with it,
Yeah.
and I'm not paying them a dime to do it. Like, they just want those clients to come to us because they love what we're doing for them, and so that's
Yeah.
all relationships.
It's on Zoom or in Des Moines or Atlanta. It's all the same thing. People are willing to. Jennifer says she's not a bot, but thanks for sharing, Robin. So we know Jennifer's not a bot because she told us she's not a bot. Just goofing on you, Jennifer. I know you've been here before, so I'm just goofing. But it's amazing
Yeah.
what treating people good will do. It's almost like
Yep.
that's biblical. It's almost like we open the good book, we might find some little
Right.
nuggets of wonders in there. It's crazy so
Yes.
crazy it might be true.
I
All right, well,
agree.
thanks, Robin. God bless. Anything comes down the pike, just I'm here to get but I certainly appreciate you doing this. This is fantastic.
Yep.
Merry
You're
Christmas to
welcome.
you, and I hope you get out on the golf down here in the South at some point
Me
before your
too.
business grows so much that you'll be a public company.
Yeah. Don't think that'll happen. We're safe there.
Thanks, Robin.
So, all
Good to see
right.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks. See you later.
All right. Bye bye.